Dear employees of Stacks LLC, I write to inform you of a difficult decision that Stacks LLC has made due to ongoing challenges of the California cannabis market. Stacks LLC will be winding down operations with a full closure expected to take place on or around December 31st of 2024. We understand that this news is unfortunate, and we want to do everything we can to support you during this transition. We are providing this advance notice of Stacks LLC's intent to dissolve, as we anticipate that it will take several months to prepare for the transfer of assets. As we proceed with the transfer of the company's assets, we will provide more clarity on the timing of events, and we anticipate being able to provide an update on the next steps on or around November 15th of 2024. For employees represented by UFCW, we have already provided the union notice to expect to engage with them in the bargaining decisions regarding the effects of the wind down. And we want to express our deepest gratitude for your hard work, dedication, and loyalty throughout your tenure at Stacks LLC. Your contributions have been invaluable, and we understand this news may be overwhelming, and we encourage you to reach out to your manager or HR representative if you have any questions or concerns. We will do our best to provide support and guidance. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation, as well as your continued efforts delivering a much-needed and positive service to our customers. Sincerely, Corey Azzolino, Chief Executive Officer of Stacks LLC. Founded in 2014 as a mobile app, Ease quickly earned the nickname the Uber of weed for its convenient service, according to the Huffington Post. And before the announcement was officially posted, an internal source had told Cron 4 News that Ease had informed its employees in a company-wide announcement last week that it would wind down its operations within the next 2 months. The company serves customers in Michigan and various cities throughout California. And as of this report, it's unclear how many employees will be affected by layoffs or how many customers will lose access to the service, you guys. Well, I'm willing to bet that it's all because of that whole union story that we covered a few weeks ago here, where the employees needed to get another 10 cents a mile, and that is probably the straw that broke the camel's back in this, but I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. Ease, once valued $700 billion corporation, once valued, and now
Billion?
700 million, yes, 700 million.
Oh.
Sorry, I mispronounced that. My bad, Todd. Thank you for the correction.
Yeah, I think these guys have been in trouble for a long time, and they mismanage, they misspend, and now they're shutting down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's because they always had a permanent identity crisis, Todd, because they are actually a weed company, even though they always identified as a technology company.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
They wanted to spend like a technology company with excessive burn rates throughout its whole infancy.
Yeah, when you have $700 million in the bank, it's easy to spend money really quickly, especially on stupid shit.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, we got plenty of money. Let's buy that too.
That was easy.
And then suddenly you're bankrupt.
Pretty much. What do you think, Saman?
I think they should have been smoking more hash and not playing these games, but yeah, they fucked up. I mean,
interesting. I'm not seeing any of you guys push back on saying that the cause of this was the unions. I'm very interested by that, you guys. Very, very interested.
well,
Look, there's not a single cause, right? Let's not simplify it and dumb it down for our viewers who are not that simple or dumb. And so that might be a factor, but that ain't the only reason.
Interesting. So you're admitting it's a factor.
I said it might be.
I mean, it's definitely an amalgamation of the problems they had, but you always get, like, the first one isn't always going to be rewarded. Most of the time in most industries, they get punished, and this is a good example of that. Anybody that is innovative and comes into an industry like the cannabis industry, there's no guarantee. It's a coin flip whether or not you're going to be hyper successful or whether you're going to end up getting just like bulldozed by whatever normal factors that happen in any other industry. Ours is just not prepared to handle the onset of like these demands from, like, let's say the unions, but who knows if that's the actual singular cause. And I agree with Yarrow. I think it's more than one, but bad business management and, bad strategy can lead down a path that you can't get out of. And it doesn't matter how many times you change your CEO, or it doesn't matter how many times you get infused with capital. You just can't dig out of some holes.
Interesting. You guys, Nick Bradley says they created hundreds of millions in tax liability for retailers, and they never owned a single license. You guys,
amazing. And they were worth $700 million.
Well, they were valued at that. I don't know if they were necessarily worth that. They were
valued at that. They were valued at $700 million. Thanks for correcting me.
Fair enough. Fair enough, you guys. Man,
looks like people are gonna have to drive to the store to get their weed again.
Well, you know what I wonder. You know what I wonder is because with their retail partners that actually do have the delivery licenses, when people are ordering from the app, are all of those customers getting inputted into those dispensary CRMs? So then that way they'll just be able to pick up the slack and have those as those delivery customers. Or I wonder about that.
I mean, I think for me the troubling issue is not ease. It's that we're covering states like Vermont that still have these retail deserts, and the solution to retail deserts,
or what ease?
Stopgap solution,
or what ease? Ease is the solution.
Delivery services, and so we can pontificate or speculate about the factors that have led to Ease's demise, but panning out from that, I still think delivery is a very important aspect of the supply chain, especially when we talk about retail deserts. And so I'm never happy to see issues with delivery that at the end of the day serve customers and patients. Now, Ease may not be the best example of the best company doing that, but I think delivery is important.
I mean, I get that, and I think you're right, but here's the reality. Ease is not going to bring the cannabis to these places like Vermont from places like California, because
if they couldn't do California, they're definitely not going to do Vermont.
but
speed limit's 55 out there.
The part that needs to change is the interstate commerce, availability, and access. If they can get the cannabis from these humongous operators on the West Coast, and they can get it there legally. Now there are people doing that, like Ease goes out the window and mood takes their place, right? So it's like, it's always this constant jockeying for that position, but ultimately that's what we're dealing with, right? It's the availability and the access for companies to deliver that cannabis to their customers. And I don't think it's an issue of interstate dependence. I think it's an issue of access. And so you just can't get all the access you need to these places. And, Yar makes a good point. Delivery is the thing that's the mechanism that's going to deliver that cannabis the final mile to that customer in most of these states. But that isn't fully developed. There's also the supply shortage and the supply issue in most of these states. So it's kind of like the chicken before the egg argument, We need to kind of just loosen up the restrictions on the interstate commerce exchange, loosen up the restrictions on businesses, and stop the fear mongering, because that's what's creating these deserts with no medicine in all these little pockets of the U.S.
I think this is also a lesson in pretending you're not a pot company when you're a pot company, right? it's why say they say they're a technology company because they want to be public.
They want that value multiplier.
They want funding. That's right. That's right. They want all that. Instead of saying we are a pot delivery company, we don't really need 700 million, maybe 500 million will get us past, right? And I think companies and businesses have to own up to what they do. And not try to hoodwink, the end user.
Interesting.
I mean, I do think that our esteemed colleague here does touch on a really good point. I don't know if you're hoodwinking the end user or the investor, but there are so many companies that are in the space that say we're a technology company. Unless you're in vape tech or tissue culture, it's a painful stretch the way these companies are seeking that loftier valuation through a tech multiplier and are, doubling down on the technology components of their business. And sometimes maybe keep it simple, stupid is actually appropriate. And Ease may have been in a different position today if they had just said, we are a delivery service.
Right.
Using other people's licenses.
Right.
Fair enough. And on that, we are going to keep this train rolling. Bye-bye, Ease. I feel so bad about this. I don't know where we're going to get stuff delivered from. But
that was easy.
You know who actually has the best delivery service in Vermont, you guys?
The Trap?
The United States Postal Service.